everyone, Jackie Ding here. Welcome back to PhD Racing Lab, where today we're talking about a very important issue that is supposedly plaguing all Supra A90 drivers out there. And that is, I'm going to use the B word. You ready? Bump steer. Is the ground shaking? Is the world coming to an end? Is this bump steer a thing? Now, we're not making this video to try and respond. We kind of are. We're more trying to figure out for ourselves even. Is this truly a thing? A little bit of an explanation on what bump steer is. It's dramatic toe changes under heavy suspension compression. Or some people are saying is that, well, the Supra, when it's compressing, when the rear suspension compresses, the toe changes from toe in to toe out to toe in all very quickly.
Just like S2000.
Kind of like very much like an S2000. So that makes the rear end very unstable. So when it compresses, the rear toes out, and then you lose stability. Now for S2000 drivers, this is like breakfast. I don't even know why Supra owners complain about it. Drive an S2000 so you won't come back and complain about this. You don't want this you want this toe curve to be very linear. So maybe with more compression, you want either like a very stable toe setting, or maybe a little more toe in to keep the car stable. Now S2000 drivers get around it by, especially on AP1s, if you know, running a crap load of rear toe in. This way, even when it's changing toe, it's still in the toe in section. So we're gonna find out. So what we've done here, well, our Supra A90 that has all of the SPL parts, arms on it, we've taken out our Reinhardt suspension, the two-way. It's been removed, and the rear sway bar, the rear A-box sway bar has been disconnected, meaning that this side of the car right now is fully independent. Also here, we have this intercom slip plate, has a degree reading on it, and as the car is traveling, this car has been just lightly set on this plate. So as we're lowering the lift, this part of the car is going to be compressing further and further and further until something hits probably the tire onto the inner fender of the car. And we're going to see just how much this number changed, and if it's changing in the correct direction, in the toe-in direction, or at some point does it bounces out to toe-out direction. What we're doing here is, as you can tell, the suspension is fully compressed. This is pretty much as we will go. So what we're looking for really here is, if you imagine, this is full throttle, car is really hard accelerating. Now we're going to raise the lift, meaning it's going to extend the rear shocks, meaning this is the phase of the heavy braking. This is where, you know, a lot of people has been complaining about under heavy braking, the rear feels unstable. So we're going to find out just how much of a toe change there is as the car is decelerating, as the rear shocks are extending. That was a very interesting little experiment. I think what we've established here is that as the rear shocks extend, as you're heavy on the brakes and the weight transfers to the front, the rear of the car extends and you lose a little bit of toe in. Now this is kind of to be expected. Sometimes car manufacturers like to build that in to induce a little bit of rotation on entry. Because if you think about it, if a rear-wheel drive car is having a lot of toe in on entry, the car is going to be very, very pushy. You're not going to be able to turn the car in, let the car rotate. Having a little bit less toe in on entry is not necessarily a bad thing. Versus on the exit, is start gaining a little bit of toe in, which helps traction, which helps you improve your grip out of the corner, helps increases stability. So would we say it's necessarily a bad thing? Probably not. What I think is more important is that, one, we notice that as the shock nears its more two extremes, whether it be fully extended or fully compressed, the toe change is more dramatic, meaning that in reality, you should probably avoid running the car super, super low or super, super high. On the factory arm with the factory subframe, perhaps the geometry is optimized for a specific range. Such our ride height this is the ride height that we usually run our race car at, and it's a decent chunk. It's not super, super low. So when you run the car super, super low, basically like can't even stuff a finger in the gap, you start getting into more of a problem of dramatic toe changes. We also prevent running the car super low in the interest of roll center. This is basically about what the factory roll center would be. If you lower the car a lot, then you're going to run into the roll center being off, and then the control arm, lower control arm not being flat, and then that's a whole nother wormhole that we won't get into today. Basically, essentially, I think one, very important, is that all Supra A90s that go to racetrack should very much get an alignment. The factory spec is a little bit too wide, so they even allow a little bit of toe out from factory. Not something you will want on a reasonably powerful rear-wheel drive car. You want the rear to have a decent chunk of toe in. So this way, it helps prevent as you're losing toe in. It doesn't go into the dangerous toe out category. Two, the car may look nice when it's super lower, but for optimal performance, for most stability as you're driving, and for better overall cornering, keep the car at a reasonable ride height. That'll be it from us. Thank you all very much for watching this cool little experiment, and see you all next time.